Okay, Sam deposited $256 in his savings account. So let's go ahead and write that down. Notice we're about to make a sequence out of this thing. Actually, a series. A series is where you add. Sequence is just a list of numbers. So for now, we're just going to make a sequence. Again, sequence is just the list. Series is where you add. He deposited $256 in his savings account, and each week he will deposit half of the amount he deposited the previous week, which, by the way, quick life lesson, that's not a good way to save money. So we're going to deposit half of that. Oops. My board got crooked. 128. And then he's going to do that every week. So then half of that, we can quickly see that Sam's not going to save much money here. Long term, this isn't going to work out for him. I'm just saying. Sam needs a new investment plan. Conveniently, these are powers of 2. Then he's going to have, well, half a dollar, and that's 50 cents. And then half of a half, so he's down to a quarter. We'll stop there, otherwise we kind of lose some of the integrity of the numbers because it's dealing with money. We'd have to round it off. At this rate, how much money will he have deposited in his account after 8 weeks? There's more than one way to do this. There's definitely more than one way to do it. But first of all, let me write down a couple things that are important. First of all, this is a geometric sequence. And the reason it's geometric is because we are multiplying by the same number every time. We're dividing by 2, which is the same as multiplying by 1/2. Okay, and what this question is asking us to find is the sum of the first 8. And while we could very easily just simply add 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we could simply add those together. That would be incredibly easy to do. But let's pretend like it's not that easy. Let's pretend like they said, we want to know the sum of the first 457. Ain't nobody got time for that. And so therefore we're going to use this formula right here. The sum of the first so many numbers is, make sure I get this formula right. That's exactly what I thought. No, really. It is. There we go. That's what it is. And that is finite. Finite meaning it ends. We only care about this much of it. Obviously, this thing goes on and on and on forever. So, let's plug some stuff in. We know the first term, 256. 1 minus the common ratio, and that's 1/2, raised to the n power. And we want to know about the first 8 terms, so we're going to raise it to the 8th power. Before we go any further, let's go ahead and make this a little more calculator friendly. That's going to need parentheses. So that in there. Fractions usually do. 1 minus 1/2. I just said fractions usually do. In this case, we're not doing anything with that 1/2 that's very special, so let's do that right there instead. Put that denominator in parentheses. And when we do that, it'll give us the answer. 1 minus, we can treat it like 0.5 to the 8 if you like. Divided by 1 minus 1/2. Honestly, you can do some of this in your head. You know what 1 minus 1/2 is. It's 1/2. Okay, Sam's going to deposit $510. Good for him. Okay, we want to know what happens if Sam does this indefinitely. Now, if Sam does this indefinitely, again, if we go any further here, we're going to run into some numbers that are not very money friendly. We're going to wind up with 12.5 cents. You can't have half a cent. You used to could, but they don't make those anymore. And so what the next question is really asking is the sum of an infinite series. On your formula sheet, it's called an infinite sequence. It really should be called an infinite series because a series means we are going to add these things together. And we want to know what happens if Sam does this forever. Now, eventually, of course, with money, it's going to kind of trail off and round off to nothing. But let's do it. Here's the formula. The sum of every single term is first term divided by 1 minus the common ratio. So 256 divided by 1 minus 1/2. Okay, easy mistake to make. If you type that in the calculator exactly the way it is, you're going to mess up. I recommend one of two things. Either put that in parentheses or just use your common sense. 1 minus 1/2 is just 1/2. 256 divided by 1/2. Oh, good grief, we don't need a calculator for this. 256 divided by half. Basically, that doubles your 256. 512, that's how much money he's going to have. Sam's not a very good saver. Ladies, stay away from Sam. He's not good with money.